Creepo with me, Hoffy.
And Elliot Walton.
As you can see, we are missing a very important aspect of the Creepo Depot today, and that is our normal host, Anthony. But that's for one special reason. We are talking about Sun and Moon.
Spoiler alert.
Yes, spoilers abound. Something that Anthony has been trying to keep himself away from till the 18th, when Pokemon Sun and Moon come out.
Yep.
So we're here to talk about everything. The things that they have talked about, the things they haven't talked about, the things that were ripped off the internet by Nintendo's ninjas.
But don't worry, we're not going to tell you the entire story, because that's already on YouTube right now, which is crazy.
Yeah, we haven't watched it either, because we want to leave something.
Yes, we still want it to be a game.
Yeah, there's still got to be something there. But yeah, why don't we start out with talking about the first big thing to come out of Sun and Moon. The new island.
Yes, a lowland form conservation Pokemon.
No, not even a lowland form. You have the fact that
you have 4 different islands.
You have 4 different islands. You have this region that is based off of Hawaii. Last time that we saw something that wasn't based off of the Eastern Hemisphere, it was Unova, but now we're back in America again, talking about going to the island. And honestly, they've done a good job of making the stuff that they put here feel very island-esque.
Yes, and another fun fact, pretty much Nintendo, Game Freak, had the World Championship in Hawaii 3 times in a row, so it feels like this is going to be also the most competitive region as well in that regard. Yeah,
clearly they were foreshadowing us going to Hawaii eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so now we're in Hawaii. Also, well, actually, we should just call it what it is, the Alola region. We are in the Alola region.
Aloha.
With a bunch of brand new things in a brand new world. For those of you who don't know, we had the demo release, and then that gave us some new stuff, and we'll be talking about that later. But the very first things they showed us were the starters. Our starters were alright, interesting. But soon, they started talking about new things, and this is where things start to get interesting. On the day that they released the Alolan forms, they also showed us Team Skull.
Oh, Team Skull.
And Team Skull's looking really interesting with that.
Yes.
Not on top of that, they also mentioned one other thing that was really interesting to see coming out of it. You have this whole fact that you have the Alolan region and doesn't have a Pokemon League.
Oh.
It has no Pokemon League at all. That was the first big crazy thing that we saw. The Alolan League it's basically, oh hey, now you have trials instead of this, where there are these odd challenges based on these things that aren't battles, that lead up to this battle with what is called a totem Pokemon.
Yes.
Instead of fighting a gym leader, you're fighting a singular large Pokemon that gets a stat boost and can call its own Pokemon allies into battle.
And it cannot be
2v1.
It cannot be caught either.
Of course, because it's a totem Pokemon. It's like a trainer battle. You wouldn't want to have that happen.
We got Pokemon being trainers, people.
Yeah,
and
pretty
was
much.
right. And was right this whole entire time.
But yeah, basically we have a huge change to the potential mechanics. There's so many things that you could do with that in and of itself. Do you have any interesting thoughts on what you could easily see them doing with this? There's a couple I know that would be crazy to see.
All right, you start off with one.
Well, one that I'm going to be talking about that'll be crazy is going to be an interaction between 2 new Pokemon.
Yes. The legendaries, right?
No.
What?
Oranguru and the bird. Orikoro.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about that before, but do you have any other thoughts that might be interesting before we go and start spieling about new Pokemon?
I'm wondering if you could, if the totem battles will it only be 2v2 battles, or is it gonna be like straight up 5 Pokemon out there? Because that'll be intense, 5 versus 1. It'd be another horde battle. What if you take too long and you stall on purpose? What if I want to set up double team for
15 turns.
15 turns, you know?
Yeah. It would be interesting to see that actually happen, a horde battle, and it would play into what we're talking about. The first of our new Pokemon that we're going to be talking about, Oranguru and Orikoro. Oranguru is the psychic normal, and it is an ape. It is an orangutan.
Oh yes. Oh, very interesting Pokedex description as well.
Yeah.
This Pokemon actually tries to be a trainer.
Yeah. The thing about it, though, is that its ability is telepathy, so it doesn't get hurt by its allies' things. But what makes it really interesting is its signature move.
What is it called again?
Instruct.
Yes, you pretty much declare a move twice in the same turn.
Well, you don't declare a move twice in the same turn. What Instruct does is it basically allows Oranguru to point at one of your ally Pokemon, and that ally Pokemon uses its last move.
Is it only ally, or can you do it to your opponent as
I'm
well?
pretty sure it's your ally.
Imagine if it's your opponent. Oh,
So-
that'd be funny.
So basically, if you have, say, a Scrafty out and it does a Dragon Dance, Oranguru can instruct it to do a Dragon Dance a second time. Or you can do something crazy
Ooh,
like
Shell Smash. Yes.
yeah. Or you can go and use say Surf twice on your more powerful Pokemon.
Yep, we saw that in one of the trailers. One
Yeah.
of the teasers.
They showed that with one of their powerhouses.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Oranguru is one of the version exclusives. He will be exclusively in Pokemon Moon. His counterpart is in Pokemon Sun is Passimian. Passimian is a pure fighting type monkey. It is aggressively statted, and it has its own signature ability, specifically for double battles.
Receiver? Is it?
Receiver, yeah.
Mm.
Receiver does is when the allied Pokemon faints, his ability changes from Receiver to that Pokemon's ability, basically giving him an implicit skill swap.
So what if Mimikyu faints? Oh, sorry. Getting ahead of myself.
That would be interesting to see, but we'll be holding off on that.
Yes.
Why don't we go and talk about... But yeah, that's pretty much how totem battles are.
Funny thing about that Pokemon as well is if the trainer has a bad throwing arm at throwing Pokeballs, they won't want to listen to it. So listen to them, so it would try to run away from its trainer.
That is a regular trend between most of the Pokemon.
Yes, they're very rebellious, and yes, they do their own thing, which is pretty awesome.
But we should move on. We should move on from talking about new Pokemon to talking about the demo.
Oh yes, the demo, that Ash Greninja, OP.
Yeah, in the demo, you are given a Greninja from a prominent trainer.
Ash Ketchum.
Yeah, you got Ash Ketchum's Greninja. This Ash Greninja has Battle Bond, which is an ability that when it KOs an opposing Pokemon in battle, it transforms into Ash Greninja, which increases Greninja's attack and special attack by 50 base stat each, and its speed by 10 base stat, making it a whopping 147 attack, 153 spec attack, 132 speed powerhouse.
Not only that, it also increases the power of Water Shuriken
Indeed.
itself.
We don't know the exact amount it increases it, but that just makes it a beast.
That
That's going to wreck
priority
everything.
and power, goodness gracious.
Especially since Water Shuriken has also been changed to a special move.
Well, Greninja's better in special attack. Great.
Yeah. It also helps Excelgor by extension, but that's not here or there. The demo covers some very light basic stuff. Basically, you talk to the professor, and the professor goes and lets you walk out into 10 Carat Hill. You're basically in one of the locations that is actually in Alola, and it helps you out. So you work your way through there, get to fight a trainer, so you get to experience a trainer battle. It shows the mechanics interestingly, such as new things such as if you've already fought and beat a Pokemon, when you fight that Pokemon again, you get to see if your moves are super effective or not very effective against it.
Yes.
Which is, it's an interesting meta change. It'll make the game easier, but I don't think it's going to fully change certain things except for making obtuse type combinations.
Limits a lot of misplays. Yes,
Yeah.
Those misclicks are very vital in battle.
Yeah.
Yes.
It limits you from it reduces the craziness of obtuse type combinations. Unless it's disabled in competitive battles, but we don't know about that yet.
Unfortunately, you can't train Greninja to level 100 because the cap for the demo is level 37. Yes.
Yeah. Alongside that, none of the Pokemon are able to evolve, so we couldn't give you information on that out of the demo. But yeah, the demo continues on to go and give us our first example of what a island trial may be. The professor goes and says that he's the professor of the first trial, and he hands you a Pokedex, the Rotom Pokedex.
Oh yes.
That's right. Our brand new Pokedex is not just a Pokedex, but it is a Pokedex inhabited by a Rotom, giving it its own character and personality.
Every trainer in Aloha is technically having a legal party, having 7 Pokemon in their party, because they also have a Pokemon in their Pokedex. But we won't get to that.
Yeah, we don't know the exact details of what it brings about, other than included inside our Pokedex is a camera. That's right, the return
Snap.
of Pokemon Snap. The first challenge goes and lets us go through the basic usage of the camera. You can move it around using the gyroscope or by using your circle pad, and you use it to go and take pictures of one of the new Pokemon, Jangomo, the resident dragon type of the region.
/ fighting.
Come on now, let's not spoil it yet. He's only dragon.
Sure. Okay.
Then after you've taken pictures of 3 of them, then you meet Hakumo-o, who is the totem of the region, who's the totem of that trial.
Oh, that one. Okay.
And he is dragon.
Yeah.
He is dragon
Okay.
fighting. And it's a really interesting combination because Janguomo, its entire line is based off of these scales. And it's got an excellent bulky attacking build, and its abilities are really solid. It has soundproof, bulletproof, and I forget what the third one was.
I forgot what the third one was too.
I think it was steadfast.
I don't think it was steadfast.
I don't remember exactly, but it was the ability that you're probably going to be using most of the time. It's very interesting to see what they did there, and that. After that is done, then they had the demo set on days. Every couple of days you could go back in and you'd do a challenge or the like, and then you'd get some stuff that you'd be able to transfer over. Once you've completed the demo, once you've completed the main part of the demo, which included a battle with Team Skull, and a demonstration of another new mechanic, Z-Moves.
Yes, Z-Moves.
But we'll get to Z-Moves later. You basically everyone is going to be able to have an Ash Greninja. Though don't worry, Ash Greninja will not be legal in tournaments this year.
Kind of unfortunate, but hey, it's overpowered.
It's not that OP, but it is not legal in tournaments. Currently we're looking at a competitive metagame that's going to be interesting. Following on the rules of X and Y when it came out is that you can only use Pokemon that are in the Pokédex, that are in the regional Pokédex, and are catchable and are made in that game. Therefore, you aren't going to be using old Pokemon that are in the Pokédex, that are from previous regions with extra abilities and like that you may not necessarily have. This prevents us from using a Fire-type Vulpix. However, it doesn't prevent us from using a Vulpix at all. For alongside the changes to the region, we now have new forms to many Pokemon.
Alolan forms.
The Alolan forms. I know you already know about the general one, Anthony, Senor Longneck, who is now a dragon.
Yes.
But there were several doing this. They described this as an update to Gen 1 Pokemon, on making them more viable and more interesting. Pokemon that have changed include the Rattata line, Raichu, Sandslash,
Meowth.
Vulpix, Meowth, Dugtrio,
Geodude,
and Muck, and Marowak. There's a lot of betrayal going on in here, and you're not going to be happy, Anthony.
Mm-hmm. A lot of ground types just like...
But let's go through them in order.
Alright, let's do this.
First, you have Rattata and Raticate.
They are normal dark.
They've gone from normal to normal dark because they've taken to eating at night. Raticate has become a glutton and is very much a tank. And has, of course, gluttony, or hustle. Well, their whole cultural thing is interesting because they became entirely nocturnal to run away from the region's rat, Young Goose, aka Donald Trump.
Yes. Did Pokemon predict the future? I don't know.
No, anyway. But yeah, they basically went to the darkness because Young Goose and its evolution go and stake out Pokemon.
Because the Alolan region had a problem with these pests, so they sought out another way to have a natural
But
predator.
now those go and gluttonize and eat everything while the rats eat at night. Then you have Pikachu. Pikachu has gotten a new version of Raichu as its evolution. Some say it was because of Alolan pancakes.
Yes.
That they were so light and fluffy. But for some reason, Pikachu has gone from evolving into its normal form of Raichu into evolving into a Alolan Raichu.
Psychic electric.
Yes, a psychic electric that rides on its own tail.
Like a surfboard.
It has slightly less attack and defense for a moderately increased special attack and special defense. And it has its own signature ability called Surge Surfer.
What does that ability do again?
And when Surge Surfer makes it so that when the field is an electric terrain, its speed is doubled.
That is crazy.
Yeah, which is really solid for it, because now it gets to be really fast.
It won't fall asleep either.
It won't fall asleep. And it gets a buff to its stab again because of the electric current. Mm-hmm. And it'll play into other stuff we'll be talking about in a little bit. And then we have the first betrayer, Sandslash and Sandshrew.
Ice, steel.
Yeah.
That's right.
Sandslash and Sandshrew have become hard as steel by becoming igloos and ice balls. They are slightly weaker in their spec attack. They've lost 20 points, so now they're only down to 25 spec attack in order to take a moderate boost in special defense and speed. So now they're at 65 speed. And on top of this, instead of using their normal ability that was shown, you now have this ability, the potential to use their hidden ability, Slush Rush. Mm-hmm. A brand new ability that is Swiss Swim for snow.
Not only Swiss Swim.
It is Swiss Swim for snow.
Yes, but it's also like Sandwich. Just...
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
It's makes you faster in the snow, and with an already 65 base speed, that means that you're going to actually be legitimately threateningly fast.
Yes, and it has a lot of power to back it up, so...
Indeed, it has a good 100-ish attack.
I still think the typing's kind of holding it back, but... You know.
Oh yeah, I agree. You ask me, what do I not want to see on a steel type? I tell you, ice. Yes. That is not a good defensive typing.
I mean, it's really cool, the lore and everything, how they had to like migrate from the volcanoes just to stay alive. But, yeah.
Alongside it is another ice Pokemon on the aforementioned Vulpix. Vulpix now becomes an ice type, and when it evolves, it turns into Ninetales as an ice fairy.
Broken.
It's really solid typing. Ninetales has lost 9 attack in order to gain 9 special defense, making it even more tanky. Its normal ability is Snow Cloak, which is okay, but the thing that helps it out a lot is the fact that its hidden ability is Snow Warning. We now have a much more viable snow-setting Pokemon.
Yep.
That's going to go and synergize with our other ice type revealed in the region, thanks to Slush Rush.
Really strong.
Yeah, though to be fair, that does fit with its theme. An ice fairy that goes and sets snow.
Lorelei would be proud.
Mm-hmm. These two are version exclusives as well. Vulpix is found only in Sun, and Sandslash is only found in Noon. They are the only Alolan forms that are version exclusive right now. Following them up is not so much Betrayal, but Hafi's Dream. Dugtrio. Dugtrio is now Ground Steel.
That's right. Exaslash.
Yeah.
Oh no, sorry, not Excadrill. Excadrill.
It's Excadrill. In exchange, it has lost special attack and 10 points of speed to gain 20 points of attack, putting it at 100 attack, 110 base speed. It is very solid. And to improve it even further, it has a signature ability, Tangled Hair. If an opponent makes contact with this Pokemon, that Pokemon's speed is reduced by 1 stage.
GUI 2.0.
GUI 2.0. And you're gonna love it because this thing is ground steel because its hair is fucking metal.
Yes.
It's got some He-Man style hair going on in here.
Yes. Majestic indeed.
Mm-hmm. Following up is Meowth. Meowth has now become the cooler Meowth.
Whatever. OG Meowth, it can talk. I like that one.
It can talk, but this one is
it's a Digimon.
It's the cooler Daniel. He's the cooler Daniel. He's a dark type. And when he evolves, he gets a kind of doofy head, but it's based off of the Great Tabby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. These get the abilities Fur Coat, Technician, and 1 other decent ability. That means that Persian is now able to become a fairly strong defensive tank, or it can use technical skills to go and push through harder. Alongside all of these includes changes to their move pools to adapt to their new Alolan form.
Next one.
Further, we have Geodude.
Yes. Oh, Anthony.
Another betrayal. I'm
Yes.
sorry, Anthony. But now Geodude has gone from rock ground to rock electric.
Mm-hmm.
He is based off of Lodestones and is a magnetic Pokemon, having a new special ability. All of them have the same stats as they did in their normal forms, but instead of that, but now they have the ability Galvanize as their hidden ability. Galvanize is Pixelate for electric, meaning that now they can use normal type moves and they become electric moves that are 30% stronger. And already being a physical Pokemon, this means that you're getting 132 power return.
Yes.
That's going to be crazy to see in battle.
Double edge, man.
Yeah. Alongside that is Alolan Muck. Alolan Muck gained the poison typing and its stats didn't change. Not much has changed too much about it.
They gained the dark typing.
Yeah, other than the dark typing. It talks about poison and it has a signature ability called Power of Alchemy. Power of Alchemy is Passimian's ability,
Yes.
retooled in name to fit for Muck.
Mm-hmm.
It's alright. It's decent. I'm not sure exactly where it's going to sit in the meta, but
Drapion 2.0. No.
it's pretty much going to be Drapion 2.0. And then you have Exeggutor. Exeggutor is now a dragon. It has Frisk, and its hidden ability is Harvest.
Same as the original.
Yep. And then you have, following it up, you have Marowak.
Betrayal.
Betrayal number 3. Marowak no longer is ground and is instead Ghost Fire. Ghost Fire with Cursed Body and a hidden ability that I do not remember, but is also very solid for it to have. It's a betrayal, but it is a good betrayal nonetheless because now it is a physical Chandler, and
It
I am
had to
down with that.
survive to fight all those grass types. It
Indeed.
had to become fire.
Alongside them, we'll be seeing a return of many Pokemon from the first region. Note, Alolan forms only apply to first generation Pokemon, and the Alolan Pokedex contains 200 Pokemon from the previous region out of 301.
Thank you, Pokemon Go.
87 Pokemon are from Kanto, including the return of Ditto, Eevee, Aerodactyl as a fossil, Snorlax, and every dragon line from every region.
Yes.
Well, every pseudo dragon. Also returning are. We have a bunch of small Pokemon returning. They're all doing okay, and among them are various minor stats changes.
I only see 2 fossils though.
No, there's 3.
Show me the
Aerodactyl.
other. Oh yes.
You've got Aerodactyl. You've got the Gen 4 fossils, and then you have the Gen 5 fossils.
Oh, I didn't see this.
Yeah. So we have a total of 5 fossils being in the region. But yeah, from there we have some other minor changes. We don't know all the changes, but 2 big ones we know about. Gengars no longer have Levitate.
Yes.
Instead, they have Cursed Body. That's good for you, Anthony. That means that he's now weak to ground types. But now he might not be OU forever like he always usually is.
No, he will drop.
Alongside that is confirmation of changes to abilities to go and rebalance. For example, Talonflame's ability, Gale Wings, now is no longer simply wind flying type moves gain priority. It is flying type moves gain priority when you are at full HP.
Yes, so no roost tactics, people. You have to actually use your flying type moves wisely.
And you can't Brave Bird spam either,
Yes.
which puts it back on par.
It still has a good amount of speed, so
It doesn't look like it's going to be bad, but it's going to be interesting. We're only seeing 16 in Gen 6 Pokemon returning in the game's main Pokedex, including the legendary Zygarde, because Zygarde has a brand new mechanic, and oh boy, is that an interesting mechanic.
oh yes.
Zygarde's changes now make it so that it has 2 forms in addition to its normal form, 10% form and complete form. You've probably seen the art for these. What happens is he has a new ability called Power Construct. What happens is when he reaches low HP, his form changes into a new form to fit that. The dog is fairly low statted, but it is moderately strong. long, having about 115 attack, 115 speed. That's a good thing.
Perfect Zygarde on the other hand. Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
The gamble to get to him, but it's worth it.
Yeah. When 10% gets into critical range, then it becomes perfect form. And when it becomes perfect form, it has 230 plus base HP.
That's ridiculous.
That alongside 100 in physical stats and 50s in defensive stats. That's at least, I don't remember the exact numbers, but it's huge. This thing is
It's not going to be legal.
This thing is a tank, and it's definitely not going to be legal.
It's not going to be legal at all.
They've finally given a reason for Zygarde to push itself out of the lower tiers, and it is now a big buff, Cheeto buff that's going to go and wreck your face.
Yes.
Expect it to be in Ubers.
Xerneas, Yveltal. Sorry, we got a new ace Pokemon here.
Indeed. And then we have our new Pokemon for the region. Our starters. Why don't we start on the starters? You want to start with the starters?
I don't know, man. These names, man. I'm just gonna say Rowlet.
Yeah, the Rowlet line.
Little owl. Yeah.
Yeah, grass flying owl evolves into Dartrix, which evolves into Decidueye.
And it's really interesting typing at the end. Grass,
Ghost. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Its stats are interesting as well. It's got 70 all-around defenses, 100 in both attacks, and 70 speed. It doesn't look to be super amazing. With its unique typing and its slightly better physical attack, that accentuates its own new unique hidden ability, Long Reach. It looks to be an interesting Pokemon. Long Reach is especially interesting because it simply says, moves this Pokemon uses do not make contact.
Nope.
So that means Iron Barbs, Rocky Helmet, and other moves like that don't do their thing when you use things such as Shadow Sneak.
No Poison Touch either.
Its entire theming is around being an
no
archer.
Static. No Aftermath.
Yeah. Yeah, we have that.
I know.
But yeah. Its entire theme is around being an archer. Or basically it's a Robin Hood. It goes and it pulls up its thing, it shoots arrows that are quills from its wings. It looks really interesting, and it's honestly the most animalistic of the three starters. Then we have our worst nightmare.
Yes. Oh goodness. Litten. Yes.
Yes, Litten. Torracat is also, like Litten, is pure fire, and it's interesting. But then it evolves. It gets big, buff, and it stands on two legs, and its name is Incineroar.
Yes, fire, dark type.
But yeah, thankfully, it's a fire dark type, and it's based off of some pretty cool lore. It is based off of the Japanese wrestler Tiger Mask, known for being a heel before turning good. Even his Pokedex entry alludes to Tiger Mask's story, with how he goes and turns good with a good trainer, and he doesn't actually want to hurt people. Well, he doesn't get a unique hidden ability, but he gets a very solid unique hidden ability.
Intimidate.
He gets Intimidate.
Yes.
That, alongside his very bulky stats, is going to mean that he's going to be a great physical tank.
He only has 4 weaknesses, guys. Only 4 weaknesses.
And a bunch of resistances to boot. And rounding out is Poplio. Poplio evolves into Brionne.
Poplio.
Which evolves into Primarina.
Yes.
Primarina is Water Fairy, and it is specially defensive and has good special attack. Its signature ability is really interesting. It's called Liquid Voice. For it, sound moves are water type, meaning now you can round. It doesn't have the boost that Pixelate does.
Oh, it doesn't? Oh, okay.
But that means that now your Hyper Voice is a 90 base power water move. If this thing learns Boom Burst, it's going to be a 140 base power water move.
Widespread as well.
Yeah. Overall, on all of these, they're all interesting, and they all get their own signature move. Decidueye gets Ghost Chain, which is a physical ghost move, 60 power, or we're presuming about 60 power. I don't remember the exact details on it. When it's used, when it causes damage, it creates the Cursed Eye. It creates the Mean Look effect, so the Pokemon cannot switch out of battle. It's going to be a really interesting tech tool to go and keep Pokemon down.
I don't know, like, how many Pokemon have Shadow Tag in this region, but that sounds pretty useful.
Yeah. Incineroar's unique ability is cures the target of burn. We are expecting that it's going to be like Smelling Salts or Wake Up Slap, where its power doubles and it has decent base power. Other than that, it's not super crazy.
Well, if you combine it with Scald, could be some cool combinations there.
Well, yeah, but now you have to use Scald and that together. That's the only problem with it, is that it's a little weak. Honestly, you know what I'd
sets up for creativity.
No, you want to know what I'd really do with it?
Okay, what would you do with it?
Psycho Shift.
Yes.
Psycho Shift Burn Orb.
Yes, that makes sense actually.
Because then you just keep on getting your burn back, setting the burn on them each turn, and then each other turn you get that. I mean, it's less DPS over turns, but you're exchanging that for the immunity to statuses. Speaking of immunity to statuses, we have Komala. Komala the Koala.
Yes.
Komala the Koala is basically a koala. Its ability allows it to simply not have anything happen but fall asleep. He's a little koala bear, and he sits there, and he's just got this big log that he hugs onto all the time. We don't know much else about him other than deep sleep basically means that you're not going to poison. He's got immunity to paralysis, freezing, burn, and poison. And if this thing learns sleep talk, he's going to be amazing with rest.
If any of these Pokemon have Prankster, that's Safeguard.
Yeah, that's some very solid safeguarding right there. Following it up, we have Pikipek. Pikipek is honestly one of the weird lines.
Yes,
I love
really
Pikipek's little form because it's like a little pearl. It's a little pearl. But then
pearl.
Yeah. But then when it evolves, it becomes this weird shaping, and then it suddenly sublimates from a woodpecker into a goddamn toucan.
Yes.
That toucan's beak is amazing, but it's like it's a toucan.
It lights up.
It's a toucan, and it's a normal flying that learns fire moves. It's called Toucanon, and it shoots, and it basically shoots stuff like a cannon. Following it up is Young Goose and Gumshoes, aka Donald Trump the Pokemon.
Yep.
He has Strong Jaw and Stakeout. Stakeout is a new ability, a very interesting ability. What Stakeout says is that if the opposing Pokemon switched in this turn, the attack that this Pokemon used does double damage.
Ooh, those U-turn.
Yeah.
Better watch out for that U-turn.
It's going to scuzz.
Or that Volt Switch.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's basically a pursuit that damages the Pokemon coming in. Makes all your attacks pursuit that damage the Pokemon coming in instead of the Pokemon going out. Smart use of your moves will mean that it'll be very solid there. Following it up is the Charge-a-Bug line.
Oh, you like this line.
I like Vikavolt. Vikavolt is really awesome. He looks like a goddamn Kamen Rider.
Yes, he does.
He looks like a Kamen Rider vehicle. He's the Blue Beetle. The new Blue Beetle.
Yes, in Pokemon.
He's Electric Bug, like Galvantula, except he's very, very slow, but has very high special attack and
defense as well.
Good defenses. He also comes with Levitate built in, so that ground type neutral power is completely irrelevant. And so basically that weakness that Electric brings to the table isn't even there anymore. There isn't really too much to say about him other than his design is pretty cool. Following him up is Crabrawler and its evolution that we do not know the name of yet.
Oh, it looks so
weird. Yeah, it's a crab that fights.
I do know it's typing though.
Yeah, Crabrawler's typing is pure fighting, which is interesting. But when it goes and evolves, it turns into this big Yeti monster.
Ice fighting.
Yeah, that is a very interesting type combination. It's
Never
one
had that before.
It's one that you and I have talked about a lot, Anthony, about how amazing it would be to see.
Very offensive.
It's very offensive. It's got Iron Fist to boot. But the thing is that it's slow. It's slow and it's bulky.
That's the problem with all these all these Pokemon, man. That's like the slowest region.
No, that's the biggest problem with ice types in general. They always make them so slow. These are not meant to be slow Pokemon. And the biggest problem is when I look through its
That's
moves,
probably its greatest strength, though. Trick Room will be a scary place to be in, though.
Yeah. Honestly, I would rather just not have Trick Room and literally just give it hope that it actually gets priority moves. Because when I looked at that moveset, there were no priority moves. No Mach Punch, no Ice Shard.
But that Trick Room
might help it, but I don't think it's slow enough to do it. I think it was middling around the 50s. That's a problem. Is that while a lot of this meta is slow,
that can decrease its speed to get in there.
Oh yeah, let's talk about a new move, Ice Hammer.
Yes.
Ice Hammer is Hammer Arm.
But it's an ice type move.
Yeah, it's Hammer Arm, but it's an ice type move. That's pretty much all there is to it. Following it up, we have Orikoro, the bird. Orikoro is the bird found on all 4 islands. It is flying type, in addition to a secondary typing. One of 4 different secondary typings depending on which island you are on.
Yep.
Based on 4 different dance styles. The baile style, which is a fire type. The pom-pom style, which is electric. The hula style, which is psychic. And the, I forget the name of the last style.
I just know it's ghost and I like it.
It's ghost and it's really interesting. Alongside this, they have a unique move, 60 base power, a dance move that has the same typing as the main typing of Orikoro, meaning that it'll be fire, electric, psychic, or ghost depending on which Orikoro you use.
Not only that, their ability as well.
They have this amazing, interesting secondary unique ability called Dancer. What Dancer does is Dancer goes and makes it so that this Pokemon copies any dance move used immediately after it is used.
Quiver Dance.
That means that if your opponent goes and sets up a Quiver Dance, Orikoro will immediately set up a Quiver Dance.
Swords Dance.
Swords Dance, all those things, including their signature move, which is also a dance.
Now, I got a question here. What if it copied Fiery Dance, which is the actual move? Like, that does damage. That would be weird.
It has its own signature move that's a dance that does damage. It might do that still.
That would
The
be
question
crazy.
is if that is actually called a dance in Japan.
Oh,
Kind of like how aura moves are burst moves here. They're pulse moves in Japan because they use the same wording.
Yes.
But the main thing about it is this is what we were talking about with Aura and Guru. Its ability to copy other moves alongside Instruct. I mean, literally, it would probably be better to just have 4 Orikoros all dancing
Yes.
by themselves. But could you imagine an Aura and Guru with 4 Orikoros next to it?
+4.
Orikoro uses Quiver Dance, speeds up. Oranguru instructs it, causes them all to dance twice. That's +4. That's +2/+2 to all of them, and 3 of them still get to attack. And if they use their signature move, that means that all of them attack. That is 12 attacks in 1 turn, after all of them getting stat boosts.
That's insane.
That is insane indeed. I would not want to be on the receiving end of that. It'll be an interesting technique for triple battles too, especially if you can have multiple Orikoros in battle. But following it up is an interesting
Cutie
kind
Fly.
of minor. Come on, yes, Cutie Fly, a new typing combination, Bug Fairy. It goes from a little moth into a bigger moth, and is based off of a species that goes and parasites bees.
And interesting enough, this isn't like your average like Butterfree or Beedrill or anything like that. This thing actually has pretty decent stats when it evolves.
It's got like, if I remember, like 115 spec attack and like
Yes.
100 base speed. It is big and fast enough to go and do that. But that brings us to the next interesting thing on the
Yes,
table.
this little rock type.
Yes, the rock type Rockruff. You're probably mad because I told you a bit about this before, and I was vaguely dancing around it a lot of times. But Rockruff has a unique thing in that when it evolves into one of 2 separate forms. Forms. They are the same Pokemon. They are called Lycanroc. But their form is based on whether it evolves in Sun or whether it evolves in Moon. And the crazy thing about it is that while these things have the same typing, they have different abilities.
And different moves as well.
Different abilities, different moves, and different stats.
Yes.
They are pretty much 2 different Pokemon, except they have the same name and are in the same Pokedex entry. Lycanroc midday form
Speedy.
is speedy, yes. It's 115 speed, 115 attack. It gets it gets Sand Rush, and it has a new move called Rockcelerate.
Finally got a priority rock type move, people.
Yep, a priority rock type move. Hold your shit in, because that's going to be fucking dangerous.
Yes.
40 base power, rock type physical, +1 priority. While its midnight form gets Revenge, because it's slower and tankier.
I like how it looks.
Yeah, Elliot likes the
Edgy.
moon one.
Super edgy.
Elliot likes the midnight werewolf, and I much prefer Sundoge. Sundoge looks really
They
cool.
both
to
look
me.
nice. They both look nice.
Indeed. That brings us to our next interesting guy,
Oh,
the fish.
yes. Likes to
Fish.
school.
Yeah, it likes to school you. It is pretty much the Alolan version of
Slacking.
Gyarados.
Okay.
Of Gyarados or Slacking, depending on Archeops.
Yes, Archeops.
You can consider it Archeops, or you can consider it basically Gyarados, because what it is it's a really, really weak Pokemon. It has 37 base HP, 20s
Oh,
for
boy.
everything else, and 37 speed. This thing has a unique ability called Schooling. When its HP is high enough, its form changes into a huge school of fish that makes it a monster. This thing has 104. When it schools into a larger form, it gets 140 attack and special attack, and 130 defense and special defense. It is a tank. It is crazy, but the problem is that once its HP hits low enough, it'll become completely weak and defenseless. It'll be very interesting to see it used with Wish Passing, because that's going to be a crazy combination right there.
When it comes to it, Destiny Bond can take out any foe, so if he gets to that point, just
But
body bag.
this thing is just going to be an interesting beast to have to deal with as a pure water type.
Oh, since it has such low HP, Nightshade is going to be a very powerful move.
That is true too.
Seismic Toss as well.
Mm-hmm.
What other move are we forgetting about that?
Endeavor.
Oh yes, Endeavor. Rattata strong.
Rattata too strong.
Rattata strong.
Rattata too strong. Following it up, we have Marini and Toxapex, the new water poisons of the region. They are sea anemones, and they don't have anything super amazing to them,
They're tanks.
but they are tanks. They are really, really good tanks.
We got a lot of tanks in this region.
Toxapex, 150 in each defense, and about 50-60 HP. It is a Shuckle 2.0. It learns a lot of status moves, and it's very solid with that. Though it did have a unique ability that I just remembered. Merciless. Merciless looks really interesting.
If the Pokemon's poisoned, it always lands a critical hit.
Yes. When the Pokemon is poisoned, all moves always crit. All of its moves always crit, which is fucking crazy to see going on in battle.
Venoshock is devastating.
Yeah, Venushot.
It does double power if a Pokemon's poisoned, and you get those crits.
And you get the Insta-crit. Imagine if it gets Fell Stinger, though.
I hope it doesn't.
Insta-crit Fell Stinger? That'd be hilarious to
Move
see.
tutor. We like to teach Pokemon how to kill each other.
Yes. And then following it up,
Faint.
we have...
Faint people.
And now we have Anthony's new favorite Pokemon, Mudbray, and its evolution.
What a donkey.
It is a donkey. It is a huge donkey. It is It is almost as heavy as Groudon, and it is 7 feet tall. It is super defensive. It has really high HP, really high defenses, good attack. This thing is going to murder you in your sleep so easily. Not even in your sleep, in its sleep. Especially, and it's looking to tank like crazy because of its new ability. The new ability that it has, that is unique to it, is called Stamina. Whenever this Pokemon takes damage, increase its defense by 1 stage. Meaning that if this thing gets something like Slack Off or Recover, it's going to be able to go and build itself up into a super duper tank. Especially if it learns Amnesia. Could you imagine that? Amnesia, Slack Off on offensive moves? That'd be crazy to see.
Good thing we got water types. Got a lot of water types.
Indeed, a lot of water types. And
There will
speaking
always
of
be water types.
And speaking of water types, it's the first in fixing the betrayal of good old Mascarian. And our good pal whose name I cannot remember.
It's a
For
bug
now,
water.
yeah, it is water bug, and it stays water bug all the way through.
Yes.
It is identifiable by this large bubble on its
Centric,
head,
we seen you.
and when it evolves,
Surskit,
yeah,
we seen you.
yeah, you are no longer betraying us. It has water bubble. Water bubble is a new ability unique to it that goes and protects it from burns and reduces the damage of fire type moves done to it. It's interesting, but it's okay. Then we have Lurantis, which has physical solar beam,
Yes.
and it is a pure grass type, and it is interesting. Following that up is Morelis, which is a mushroom. It's our new mushroom. It's grass fairy.
How many mushrooms do we have now? Like
5
4?
or 6.
Yes. We got a lot of mushrooms.
It's interesting. It's okay. Not that interesting in it, too. Though it's got some interesting stuff to it. The one that's interesting right now is Blizzard.
Yes.
Blizzard.
Poison fire, right?
Poison fire.
Yes.
It's got a unique ability called Corrosion. What Corrosion does is it basically makes it so that it can poison Pokemon that cannot normally be poisoned.
Those steel types.
Those steel types. I'm pulling my collar right now. That's gonna be some dangerous shit to deal with.
That's your favorite type.
Yeah, but now it can be poisoned. And alongside it, it's looking to be fetish material for everyone, pretty much.
It looks like a really, really cool Pokemon.
Yeah, it is an Anthro, and it goes and it hypnotizes males.
Oh yeah.
With pheromones.
Yes.
That's why I said that. It's gonna be hilarious to see going down. And following it up is Stuffle and Beware.
Yes.
Beware the bear.
Oh, it's hugging you.
It's a normal fighting, which is an interesting combination to see, but it's tanky. It's got like 120 HP,
Really
heavy physical defense, good defenses, low speed, but it's a tank. It is going to destroy you. Its entire thing is that it looks like a stuffed animal. People like picking it up and they like hugging it, but it doesn't like that. So once it gets big, it wants to hug you. And if it hug you, it'll break your back.
They actually have warning signs all around Alola. Warning kids, stay away from this Pokemon.
It will crush you.
You will get wrecked.
It is hilarious to see it in action, and it looks like it's hilarious. Following it up is there's another grass line. Our first pure 3-stage grass line. Which basically goes and it basically evolves into Nicki Minaj. There isn't too much to really say about it.
Nicki Minaj is strong though.
Yeah. It looks strong, it's potent, it's got some good skills to it. It's got its own unique no, it doesn't have its own unique. That's Lurantis's. It's got nothing super crazy to it. But following it up,
it has a move that's called Triple Kick, which is really powerful.
Triple Kick is already an existing move though. It's 3 attacks, 10 base power.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I checked that.
I want to say they buffed it though.
They might have buffed it.
I want to say they buffed it by like 10.
I could see that. That would actually make it really useful. Following it up, we have the new Fairy. It is a pure Fairy.
Special ability. I forgot its name as well.
Yeah. It's special, but the big thing about it is its special ability, Triage. Triage makes it so that healing moves always go first for it.
Priority.
So now that means that your Recover or your Heal Burst or your Heal Pulse or whatever now goes first. And it's really crazy to see it, and it'll be really crazy to see that in action. Because that's just going to be going and pushing it through it.
Ultimate stall Pokemon.
Indeed. Not even ultimate stall Pokemon. It's going to be great medic on double battle teams. Well, a lot of this stuff
if it learns Endeavor, that's a very broken Pokemon.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see. And then following it up,
the monkeys.
We have the monkeys that we discussed. And following them up is the new Love Disc.
Worm? Is it a new
Wimpod.
It's not the new Love Disc.
We assume it's new Love Disc.
Okay.
Because it's very likely it's going to be carrying a new
It's a horseshoe crab.
Yeah, it is a horseshoe crab, but
Love
it's going to be
like a fish.
No, but it's what it does. We expect it's going to be carrying a new valuable item.
Oh, something like that. Okay.
But its other thing is that it's also like Magikarp, where it wimps out halfway through. When its HP reaches half or less, it switches out automatically. But this thing evolves into a fucking beast.
It's really powerful.
125 attack, 145 defense, 40 speed, need moderate HP, good defense, good special defense.
Funny ability.
Funny ability. Emergency exit. Instead of cowardly wimping out when its HP reaches half, it senses danger and switches out when its HP reaches half.
Same ability, people, just different names.
Different names, keeping its kayfabe up. But that goes and impresses upon its new ability. First impression. 120 base, 90 base power move, plus 3 priority, bug type, physical. Now you might be thinking that's crazy. How is that possible? Because it has the same limitation as Fake Out. You can only use the move you turn in. But it has an ability that automatically switches it out.
So it's always going to get it once it gets into the battle.
Indeed. Following it up, we have Sandygeist and Palossand, Anthony's new favorite ghost type. It's
Ghost and Ground.
Ghost Ground Sandcastle. Oh, it looks to be extremely defensive, and it has a unique ability in the form of water compaction.
Very creepy Pokedex description. You guys should read that.
Yeah. Water compaction makes it so that when it's hit by a water type move, its defense is increased by 1 stage immediately after. Not as strong as stamina, but very interesting to see. Following it up are a few other minor Pokemon, but the next big one is Silvally and type Null. There's nothing to talk about Pikachu.
Pikamuku's cool. Right?
It's cool, but there isn't much to talk about it.
He's another tank that's unique.
Yeah. Type Null is very interesting.
Oh, base stat wise, we know those base stats.
Yeah, those base stats are crazy. 95, 95, 95, 95,
59.
95, 59. 95 in everything but speed. And 59 in speed.
It has an evolution too, so...
It has an evolution
Eviolite.
too, so it can be Eviolited. It's going to be a tank. It is a normal type, and it has battle armor, so it doesn't take damage. What makes it really interesting is when it evolves. The only stat that changes is its speed, and its speed goes to 95 base speed. And it has a unique ability called the RKS system. Depending on its held item, its typing change.
Arceus 2.0.
It is Arceus 2.0. It even has a signature move that is the physical version of Judgment. Arceus 2.0.
Multi-strike, right?
Yeah, multi-strike. And basically its whole thing is that it has 95 down the line, can be any typing based on its held item, and it has that signature move, which is really interesting to see. Following it up is Minior.
Oh, this Pokemon's so cool.
Minior is a little meteor Pokemon that hides in a shell, that hides in a meteor shell before exposing a star. When it is in its shell, its base stats are 60, 100, are 100, 60, 100, 60, 160, or something along those lines, and it has an ability called Shields Down. Basically, while it is above 50% HP, it is immune to statuses, and when its HP hits 50 or less, it takes a more aggressive form.
And its stats change as well.
Yeah, its shell sheds, and its attacks and defenses swap alongside its speed. And it looks to be extremely tanky and crazy. Yeah, and interesting with that.
And I know we're gonna get to it later, but a lot of these Pokemon, we haven't even gotten to it, but a lot of these Pokemon on the roster have their own unique Z move.
Yeah.
Not only the typing, but they actually have their own unique Z move as well.
Indeed. Following that, you have Turtonator. Turtonator is a new fire dragon, so we have a fire dragon that isn't Reshiram.
Yes.
It's got an okay ability, but it has a unique attack that makes it do a counter attack after it takes an attack. It's
Pretty much counter.
It's pretty much it's protect. It's a new type of protect that's like Spiky Shield.
Oh, like Spiky Shield actually. Yes.
Except it deals damage. Following that is the region's new Pikachu, which
This thing is really good actually.
Yeah, Electric Steel, comes with Sturdy, and a couple of other interesting abilities. Its stat wise, it's very well statted, but it's just like generally good.
We actually have two different types of Pikachu.
And then we have a new Pikachu.
Yeah.
Our new Pikachu called Pikachu.
No, it's called Mimikyu.
No, that's Pikachu. That is Pikachu. You're gonna
That
tell
is
me that's...
Mimikyu. It's trying to be a Pikachu.
Yes.
It's had a hard life, all right?
It's had a hard life, and it wants you to pretend that it's Pikachu. It is a ghost fairy hiding in a Pikachu costume. Mm-hmm. Thanks to it has interesting stats, a good move pool, and a unique ability called Disguise. Yes. That's right. It's disguised as a Pikachu, which makes it so that the first attack it takes in a battle,
no damage.
Half damage.
It was no damage.
It's half damage for the first damaging move they take.
Oh, okay.
It's interesting and solid. Following it up is a Psychic Water, whose only real major thing to it is that it has a unique ability called Dazzling.
Prevents all priority moves
from being used.
That's a lot. That's a lot of moves going.
Mm-hmm. Following it up, we have Drampe.
Normal dragon.
A normal dragon.
One.
Yeah, a really interesting type combination.
This should have been the evolved form of Dunsparce, but whatever.
No, it doesn't look like Dunsparce, but I can understand why you want that. But yeah, this thing is really interesting. It has an ability that makes it...
with Eviolite? Ooh, anyway, that's
This thing has a unique ability that allows it to increase its spike attack by 1 stage whenever it KOs a Pokemon. It's going to be really strong to see.
Berserk. Yes.
Yeah, Berserk is going to be really interesting to see in battle. Following it up is a Grass Steel. It is an anchor.
This is the Magnemite of the region.
I'm sorry, it's not Grass Steel, it's Grass Ghost.
Oh, yes.
It's Grass Ghost like the starter. The reason why I say Steel is because it looks like a goddamn Steel type.
Its ability.
But its ability makes it a goddamn steel type. Without being goddamn steel type. It's called Steel Worker, and it increases the damage of steel type moves.
Yes.
Rounding this out, we now have some very special stuff to talk about.
Oh boy.
The legendaries and one other unique new thing that's coming in the region. First off, the legendaries. We have 6 total legendaries. Kinda. We have the 4 fairies. Each of them are fairy and a secondary typing. One is fairy electric, one is fairy psychic, one is fairy grass, and one is fairy water.
Island protectors.
Yeah, the island protectors. They all share a similar unique ability. That is unique to each of them. And that causes them to put down the terrain of their main typing.
Yes.
So the electric one puts electric terrain, the psychic one puts psychic terrain, the grass one puts grass terrain, and the water one puts fairy terrain.
Mystic.
Yeah, misty terrain. Of these, one of these terrains is brand new, the psychic terrain. And this one is really interesting
Prevents
because
all priority moves
from Pokemon on the ground.
Yes.
Prevents the effects of priority moves from Pokemon on the ground.
No sucker punch.
No sucker punch, no protect, none of that stuff.
Well, even protect.
It negates the effects.
Wow. That's
In addition,
really
it increases the damage of psychic type moves by 50%. And then following it up is a weird Pokemon, Cosmog. It's got no stats whatsoever. It only learns Splash and Teleport.
It is not supposed to be used in combat.
It is not supposed to be used in combat, but something about it tells me that it's going to evolve into this thing here. It's got 100. We don't know what this one is, but it also can't be used in battle. 131 attack, 131 defense.
Does it get like cosmic power though?
Gets cosmic power and teleport, and that's it. But the thing is that it looks so similar to Solgaleo and Lunala that we think that Solgaleo and Lunala might just evolve from this thing. And given those stat lines, it seems like Cosmog might evolve from this thing. Mm-hmm. And it might be some plot-related thing where they go and they continue to develop up.
Oh boy.
Then we have...
Ultra...
No. Magearna. Magearna looks interesting and solid.
It is a legendary, yeah.
Magearna looks just interesting and solid. You've heard about it already. It looks cool. Well, and it's got good physical stats. And as a psychic fairy, as a steel fairy, it looks to be really solid in battle.
Guys wonder why you can use Pokeballs? Think of this Pokemon. It started it all. It was the first Pokemon.
Indeed. And rounding out the legendaries is something really cool. It's called Komasan. No, it's not Komasan, but it looks like it belongs in Yokai Watch. It is Marshadow. It is ghost fighting.
Yes.
And
first time ever.
Yeah, first time having a ghost fighting, and it has Technician. And it gets Mach Punch. And it gets Shadow Sneak.
It's a legendary, people.
And it gets 60. And it gets Shadow Punch.
It is a legend.
This is a legendary, and it has 120 attack, and it has 125 special speed.
So we could see that Alex is gonna use this Pokemon.
Komasan is my buddy. This is the guy that I wanted. Anthony, this is Mr. Shadow Boxer existing, and he's perfect in design for me. I love him. I love him, and he's got me excited for talking about the Aether Foundation.
Oh boy.
The Aether Foundation. You've already seen, Anthony, I know you've already seen one of them. Wick, aka Thick. But basically, the Aether Foundation is another group inside Pokemon in the Alola region. They all have these stark white uniforms, and they're working to improve the environmentalism of the region. Their trainers are kind of interesting in looks, but it's like, okay, I can understand why you would have this here. But instead of that, the big thing about them is that they're researching something new, a threat to the region called the Ultra Beasts.
Oh boy,
these are some kind of
1, 2, 3,
8. There are 8 Ultra Beasts.
Oh boy.
One pair of them is version exclusive, Ultra Beast 02 expansion and Beauty. Those two are version exclusive. But the whole thing about these guys is that these guys are supposed to be weird, powerful threats that are a threat to both humans and Pokemon, and everyone's wondering what exactly is the nature of them. Well, we got to see all their stats.
Their stats are ridiculous.
Their stats and their abilities are fucking ridiculous.
They're just on a whole new plane. Like
they all have the same ability. It's called Beast Boost. Beast Boost makes it so that whenever any Pokemon is knocked out, its most proficient in its stat is increased by 1 stage, meaning this thing will continue to become more and more and more of a threat. One of them doesn't have this ability. It has Prism Armor, which is Filter, but
and which
That's
is
it.
very sad. There's no Wobbuffet in this region, so
Yeah.
no Destiny Bond tactics here.
No Destiny Bond tactics here, but you have other tactics to deal with it. On top of it, they all have weird typings. The first one, which is a jellyfish, is rock poison. Brand new typing to see. Going to be very interesting to see. Second pair, bug fighting. They have a unique move called... They all seem to have their own unique moves or powerful things. Third one is an electric with 173 attack. Fourth one is steel flying, and it is basically a Skarmory 2.0. Fifth one is grass steel, 183 attack, 109 speed. And the fourth one, you're going to love this, Anthony. It's a big old mouth. It's a big old dragon mouth.
Dragon Dark.
Dragon Dark,
Poor Hydreigon.
229 HP base. And good solid defenses after that. This thing is going to be a tank. And the craziest thing about this is that they're all super optimized. Because they have all these low stats that they just took to be able to have these very powerful, potent stats, while still only being 570 BST. That's what makes these things so crazy.
Like when you have like
And
173 in a stat, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, that is insane. And the fact that these are just Pokemon, we don't know. We don't.
They shouldn't be Pokemon.
We don't know if they're
Pokemon.
Pokemon. We don't even know if they're Pokemon. There's an implication that you might not even be able to catch them. The only thing you can do is fight them. And honestly, these guys seem like the reason why Z moves are going to be important.
I mean,
That's right. It's time to talk about
okay,
that.
once
now.
I was Z moves. Okay.
Well, I mean, there isn't much more to say about the Ultra Beast and all that without getting into weird spoiler territory.
Gotcha.
So instead, we're going to talk about Z-moves. Z-moves is a new thing introduced in the game. Basically, there are Z-moves for every type and Z-moves for specific Pokemon, probably using their signature move. But basically what a Z-move does is when you activate the Z-ring, it transforms a move of the same type into the Z-move. And the Z-move is extremely high power, one Z-move per battle thing that does something along the lines of
When trainer and Pokemon combine their strength, they can unleash awesome.
it is the
powerful moves.
replacement to Mega Evolution.
Yes.
Though you can Mega Evolve using the Z-ring as well. Also, Mega Evolutions will be back.
But you can't use them in the tournament that's coming up.
Indeed. Though at the same time, Z-ring, the Z-moves are crazy. You have things like Gigavolt Havoc, 170 base power, 100 accuracy. The electric move. And then you have signatures like Eevee's. Eevee's signature ability.
EV boost.
Hyper Eevee Boost. Ultra Evo Boost. Basically what it does is it harnesses the power of all 7 evolutions. It looks super cool to see it in action, and it increases all of its stats by 2 stages.
And I kind of had to draw the line there. Isn't that technically illegal? Like those Pokemon came out the stands to help out that Eevee.
It is a stand. It is Eevee's stand power.
So technically, I can intervene in like a league challenge.
Yes,
But what-
now you can. Now you can do that.
Okay.
But yeah, speaking of that, you have all these crazy ultra moves just going down and going crazy on it.
Yes.
It's going to be crazy to see this stuff going down, though I'm not sure how much it's going to affect the meta. All this stuff really is so interesting in the meta. This format is going to be so interesting just to see it rush through all the stuff going down
And
in
we
it.
have a lot of Pokemon. I mean, we have 72 different
Yeah.
Alola Pokemon, and we have like
No, we have 87 Gen 1 Pokemon.
for like the new
And 72 brand new Pokemon that are
from Alolan,
Alolan
yeah.
specific, not including Alolan forms. On top of Alolan forms, we're talking about 100 new Pokemon, especially if you also include the Ultra Beasts. It's going to be a crazy count to just see all this stuff in
I hope
action.
Ultra Beasts are in Pokemon.
I'm 50-50 on them. They will warp the meta that they are in, but my hope is that they are just kind of there, and you're only allowed to have 1 per team. Like I could totally see something like that, and that would be an interesting kind of little mechanic to have there. But other than that, we have just all this stuff that's just here, and this huge roster. The Alolan Pokedex is confirmed to be 300 Pokemon, 87 of which are from Gen 1, but most of them are actually pretty interesting and pretty nice to see running about. On top of that, we have all the other stuff that's going on in here. And what else do we got to talk about in here, Anthony?
Elliot.
Yeah.
You want to talk about the exclusive Z moves?
Yeah, we have all these cool features. We have, because we talked about Z moves. Let's see what else is there.
Oh, the global link.
Let's start going through stuff again. So, the first thing, this is what I was hinting at when we were talking about WinPod.
Mhm.
When we were talking about WinPod, there was a discussion of a new thing called hypertraining.
Oh boy. Pretty much you can train your IVs.
By giving a bottle cap to the
Yes.
certain person, you can train your IVs. That means you can increase the IVs of a Pokemon.
Don't have to breed as much anymore.
Indeed. If these things are common enough and they do well enough in improving the IVs, you could go and increase the IVs of Pokemon so easy. You could potentially increase the IVs of Pokemon so easily that it makes competitive battling a lot easier to do.
This is gonna be the most
On
competitive
top of
region.
that is the new box. The new box is really interesting to see. Basically, the box is now a physical location in the world,
Mhm.
and in it you have these various islands. These islands can do things like
Oh, the
improve.
PC box.
Yeah.
It's the PC box.
You can improve the happiness of Pokemon. Your Pokemon can find items for you, like including fossils.
You can even hatch eggs in hot springs.
Yeah, and there's a hot springs you can install that makes it so that when you go there, you can leave eggs in there and the eggs will hatch. There's also claims that when you go to pick up an egg, if your team is full, it'll be immediately transferred to your PC.
Amazing.
That is some pretty crazy stuff right there.
It
That's
feels like the anime when Ash actually
Yeah,
transfers his
all
stuff
of this-
to Professor Oak.
all
They're
of this-
training there.
But not just that, this all feels like just all these minor quality of life things that they're doing to improve the gameplay experience and streamline it. Along with all these crazy radical changes and things, they're even introducing a whole new battle type.
Battle Royale.
Yes, the Battle Royal.
Even though the fans created this.
Yeah. Battle Royale is a new format in which 4 Pokemon, 4 players, free for all. Basically, any player can choose to attack any other player, but
It
This-
ends as the moment someone gets KO'd.
no, it ends the moment one player whites out.
Yeah, gets KO'd.
Yeah, and the thing is that even though one player's team might get whited out, they might still win the game, because what it does is after it's done, it accounts
Number
for
of KOs.
how many KOs you took and how many of your Pokemon fainted, and the person who has the highest KO versus faint ratio wins the battle.
And they have first, second, third, fourth.
It just looks really crazy to see how that'll work. And coming along with that is just some other interesting stuff from the battle system. Like the Pokemon Global Link has been improved to now cover
This is going to be very competitive in the Global Link.
yeah,
Very
brand new
competitive.
features in it. Basically, you now have the battle rules are back. Single battles, double battles, and special battles. They're now going to have special battle format again, which depends on who you use, and it'll let you do whatever you want with it. In addition to this we now have the rules for the championship battles, which will be one of the formats you can play at any time on the global
Not
network.
only do we have the championship, but you can create your own tournament.
Well, hold on to that. Let's cover the rules for this year's tournament that are going to be interesting.
Okay, yeah, okay, the rules for the tournament.
Yeah. Basically, like I said before, it's going to follow XY rules. Only Pokemon that appear in the Lola region, only Pokemon that can be obtained in Sun and Moon, and no Mega Stones are allowed. And some legendary mythical Pokemon will be banned.
Sorry, little Timmy's aggro.
Yeah, you'll not be able to. So we'll be having a 300 Pokemon format, a 300-ish Pokemon format, which will be interesting to see how it goes down. I don't know. I'm waiting to see how it'll go. I think it'll go interestingly, and it won't be as much of a cluster bomb as this format was.
I think we're at least gonna have 100 competitive teams out there. you
Yeah.
know, different Pokemon.
I hope we have 100 competitive things. I think
it's not gonna be just 32.
I think the format will stabilize a bit, honestly, and that's going to be a
They
problem.
also balance out
but-
a lot of Pokemon as well.
But yeah, they've been doing a lot of balancing and the like, and it might make teams a little more interesting. Following that is something called Your Time. Thanks to the battle systems are now covered in a whole new way. Basically, battle time settings are now set to your time. Using this method of time accounting, players will have a maximum of 60 seconds each turn to select a move or Pokemon, but they will only have 10 minutes over the course of an entire match before then. If a player takes too long and their 10 minutes runs out through the entire match, they immediately lose the match.
I like that because there's been a lot of timer stall in the competitive community Pokemon.
Indeed. So basically what this does is it makes so that while you have 6 minutes a turn, a match will end at most at 20 minutes. 20 minutes, the longest a match will now be able to go, and that'll hold formats to be a lot faster. Sure. And to note, mythical and legendary Pokemon are still banned from the single and double formats. And another note is that Pokemon obtainable from XY Ruby Sapphire and from Pokemon Bank will be able to be used in single and double battles for a set time after the update to Pokemon Bank in January 2017. At a later date, special rules are anticipated for rating battles and live competitions that will use Pokemon brought into Sun and Moon from the Nintendo 3DS Virtual Console software titles Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow.
That's going to be a lot longer.
Yeah. And then you have the new thing that I think you'll find interesting.
Smogon 2.0.
Battle with other players' Pokemon. In Pokemon Sun and Moon, you can register Pokemon that you often use in battle teams, which can contain anywhere from 1 to 6 Pokemon. You can set a maximum of 6 battle teams, and the same Pokemon can be registered to several battle teams simultaneously. This makes it a lot easier for you to be able to go and set up multiple teams using the same Pokemon between things. In addition to this, when the Pokemon Global Link is updated for Pokemon Sun and Moon, a new feature will be available: QR rental teams. Players will be able to publicly share their own teams and to use battle teams designed by other players. Public battle teams can be used by scanning their QR code patterns from the Pokemon Global Link. You can take part in linked battles and certain rating battles using a battle team you have rented. You may even be able to try battling using the Pokemon of expert players, like the victors of World Championships.
If you don't like, actually putting in the hours of raising a team, you could just take someone's team and
use it casually.
Exactly.
Honestly, it's very good for the concept of playtesting, because now you can just go and playtest someone else's team and see how it works for you. Because it's not like you can take an individual Pokemon; you have to take the whole team. Mm-hmm. So it helps you go and see what works for you or not before you go and you commit 30 hours to go breed a single Pokemon that might not necessarily work. Mm-hmm. That's what's really interesting about it. Then we have global missions. Global missions are limited time events that give trainers around the world a shared mission via Festival Plaza in Sun and Moon, and they will be held at regular. The theme of the first global mission will be catch a lot of Pokemon, and expected to go live in late November. Basically, this is in reference to a whole new thing. I'm sure you remember Union Street from Black and White 2, right, Elliot?
Long time ago.
That's back.
Wait. So it's like
It's like Union Street. Festival Plaza is now like Union Street.
So you can actually invite people there and create like different shops to like better your adventure.
Yeah, it better your adventure, and it has a lot of unique things to it too, including stat training and a bunch of other little things. In addition, you can take challenges with people to get festival points, and this is how you buy new clothes.
Wait, that's the only way? I hope that's
No, that's one of the ways you can buy new clothes. And it's the only way you can dye clothes.
Oh, yes.
That's right. Custom clothing is back. You can now again change your main character's clothing to fit how you want.
And you don't have to wear a hat.
Mm-hmm. Customization all around. You can change your hairstyle, your hair color, your eye color. You can even change the color of clothing that has white in it. You can change the white to any color you want via dyes, and it looks really crazy to see in action. And it's like,
I hope they have more hairstyles though.
A whole bunch of crazy customization actions in place. It's going to make it able to do that. That, alongside with skin tone customization, this is going to be the largest customization. This is pretty much the MMO level little Pokemon customization people have been wanting to see for a long, long time. And honestly, I'm glad to see it back too.
X and Y did a good job, but this is on a whole new level.
It's taking it up there way crazy. Furthermore, you have the ability, like Elliot said, to host your own friendly competitions. On the Global Link, you can now go and compete in official online competitions as in the past, but now you can go and make a friendly competition. You can become a competition host and host original competitions where you set the rules. Friendly competitions allow you to hold competitions in 2 different styles. Those probably doubles and singles. And you can recruit and enjoy climatic battles with your friends. In addition, you have the live competitions and the online competitions, all of that which is as previously stated. Then we have Team Skull, we have them, those guys are back from X and Y.
Yep.
That's all right. The Ultra Beasts, the Trial Captains look interesting. Then you have the Kahunas. The Kahunas are our gym leaders.
Yep.
They are the ones you're going to be fighting at the end of each island. There are 4 islands and 4 Kahuna leaders. You go after you deal with the island challenges, you get to fight the Kahuna. So gym leaders aren't exactly gone, but they're handled in such a different and unique way that I think that's a satisfying change, don't you?
6 generations of the same thing. We finally got to change them. So.
Indeed. Following that, we have what is called the Battle Tree. Because the region does not have an Elite Four, instead they have something called a Battle Tree. This is like the Battle Frontier, to an extent, or the Battle Tower. More like the Battle Tower. But as you play through it, you get to run into powerful trainers from the past, including Cynthia, Green, and Red.
Not only that, Wally. Can't forget about Wally.
Yeah, Wally is back as well. But seriously, we have a new confirmed aged up Red and Green. And everyone's aged up, and you can just run into any of these people that you used to know. Even the double battle partners from Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. And that's looking to be really interesting.
You can actually tag team with these people too.
Yeah, you tag team for a doubles format, and it's really strong to see. It's really strong and cool to see that in action.
Not only that, this region's so unique because like the trainers actually throw different types of Pokeballs out. Like Cynthia's Garchomp is actually caught in an Ultra Ball.
Indeed. So everyone has their own unique balls that they have for each of their Pokemon, and honestly, all the designs are pretty cool too, including return of previously shown designs. Following that, we have the Pokedex, and a new thing called Poke Ride. Poke Ride is a new on-call feature that allows you to go and summon a Pokemon to do various things.
Replacing HMs completely.
Indeed. From flying, to smashing rocks, to pushing rocks, to surfing. You can now call on Pokemon to be summoned for you to ride. These Pokemon are not a part of your team, which means you don't have to affect your team composition to do that. And it's basically freed up moves. It basically allows you to free up moves and not have to deal with HM slaves.
You don't have to have a Bidoof anymore in that 6th slot.
And it's also probably to deal with the fact that Pokemon Bank now makes it possible for you to go and get Pokemon out of order.
Yep.
Which means that this is really nice to have just sitting there and fixing everything there. And you have Pokefinder, which we discussed. And this thing. This is interesting.
Sun and Moon are actually played 12 hours apart.
That means that when you get Pokemon Moon, its clock is offset by 12 hours. That means that whenever you're playing in the day, it is night. Whenever you're playing in the night, it is day. And Pokemon Sun, the time works normally. And it's an interesting change, but it's a minor change, but it's an interesting change. And honestly, you have
Pokemon and Me was great, but it got even better. Like you can actually cure status conditions now, and you can actually groom your Pokemon to actually increase not only your affection but your happiness as well.
Indeed. Basically, by doing this, it's really helping connect people to their Pokemon.
They are living,
and it's that good increased connection, and it helps that investment in the world. And it now means that you don't have to worry about now you don't even have to worry about carrying items to cure your Pokemon outside of battle.
This is the most immersive Pokemon game.
Indeed.
That's been released.
And you have the Festival Plaza, Poke Pelago, the demos, as we talked about, was solid. Mega Evolution is back, and Z moves were back. And then outside of this, this is most of the stuff that we've seen that we've enjoyed. And honestly, everything about it just looks like it's going to be a really solid experience. Competitive format is looking like it's going to be weird but interesting overall. And honestly, I'm honestly super satisfied with what this region has given us. Would you say the same?
Yes, my favorite part would be the Pokemon and Me and the box feature, because I really like to feel like I'm actually a part of the game. So I'm more of the anime trainer, and Alex is I'm gonna go to tournaments and just wreck people. But it seems like a great experience.
Indeed. I love how they've twisted and curved everything in here, and everything just feels so weird. And the fact that they're putting in real balance changes too. They want to make the formats work better, and they've put in this concern. They're dealing with Pokemon that were centralizing in the doubles format too. That Talonflame change is obviously because of how powerful it was in doubles and how centralizing it was in the format.
They're actually starting to care.
They're caring a lot more about making sure that their competitive battles aren't just seen as silly and are really truly competitive, and that our concern with it is there. And because they're giving us new abilities and attacks that go and focus on double battles.
Yep.
That just shows a commitment and a care about that, alongside with a complete revision of how the world is changing. This is what I think this is kind of what they wanted X and Y to be. A brand new world we live in, but the same old Rattata. It ain't the same though, because now it's a dark type, but you still gotta catch them all.
Yep.
To be the best you can be.
That's right. Yeah, this game is gonna bring a lot of people together. It's even gonna get new players. I feel like it's gonna be really like new players are gonna have a fun experience because they're gonna it's gonna walk the trainers through it, like showing not very effective, super effective. They won't
Indeed.
feel like they're not good enough to play. Like everyone's gonna have a chance to be great in this
Indeed.
game.
The biggest part on top of that is the whole fact that not only do you have that, but you have it's just this general feel. I mean, you saw the Japanese commercial for it?
Yes.
Anthony, when you're done with this
You
podcast,
need to look at that commercial. They're amazing commercials.
there were 4 commercials, and they emphasized what this region is about. And honestly, having watched them and then reading through this stuff again here, I can really feel that that's really what they want. That the tone that they put in those commercials is really what they wanted to show on it. I just love it.
Yes, Pokemon brings people together.
This Pokemon game is going to bring people together.
Yep.
And in terms of bringing people together, I'm just happy to see it. I'm excited. I mean, we sounded kind of mid-tone here, but it's like there's just like all this raw excitement. I wanted to just give you so much information right now. The one piece of information that I hope that I'm going to surprise you with right now: Smart Strike. Hoppy's got his own move now. Steel type,
boy.
70 base power.
It's never gonna miss.
Never miss. It's Steel type Swift with 70 base power. It's the Smart Strike. But it's really fun to see that. And it's like,
I'm just glad I got my Sableye in this region.
Indeed.
Favorite Pokemon.
Metagross is back too.
Mm-hmm.
That's all nice. And it's like, it's just nice. And it's like, we have all these things that are back. Flygon is back. All this other stuff that's back. This pool, although it has a bit much Gen 1 Pokemon for my taste, it's got 2/3, about half the Gen 1 roster back, and only 30-ish from each other region. And it still feels like it brought enough back, and it has enough new, that this isn't like Gen 6, where it was like, oh hey, there's 450 Pokemon. There's 450 Pokemon, and only 60 of them are new. Now it's 72 Pokemon are new, and there's only 300 Pokemon. So it's about a third of the decks, and I'm fine with that. And it's just good, and I'm excited, and I'm just excited to see it. Yeah, but before we go and close out, we should talk about what Michael wanted to say for us. We're sorry that Michael wasn't able to show up for here, but he did give us his thoughts. He really feels refreshed with how this is looking now compared to the previous 6 generations of formula. They're taking a risk, and hopefully it'll inspire them to take even more risk. That demo we played is really solid. It's simple, but it gets across what it needs to very well. Oh, his favorite Pokemon are Rockruff because it's hella cute, and its evolution is a spin to the old alternate evolutions, which while it isn't totally amazing, it's cool in its own right. Popplio's evolution did not disappoint.
It's a really strong Pokemon.
Yeah. And overall, there's enough Pokemon that are unique for him to be excited about.
Mm-hmm.
The metagame, he's not sure, but he says that Battle Royale looks like it's going to be cool. And so far, none of the new Pokemon have really given him a this is going to wreck vibe so far, except maybe Silvally, Komomo, and...
If anything, you should be worried about the
Ultra
Beast.
Yeah. There are some powerful things in there, so I feel sorry that he hasn't heard about that yet, but it's going to be interesting to see. And honestly, we will round out with things that he says that you'll like are things that we noted. The Mudmule. You're going to love Mudmule. You're going to love the ground types. The ground types in this region aren't very prevalent, but they are very interesting, and I think you'll like them.
Very useful.
And then finally, his hopes and wishes. He hopes that it's going to have an amazing post-game like Emerald and Platinum did. Hopefully there's a section of Alola where you can get a bunch of old Pokemon after the game as well, like in Black and White.
I'm going to foresee this. I think it's going to have a really good, game experience, but the post-game, I feel it's going to be lacking.
I can understand that because
it's going to be a really long game, though. It's going to be a long game.
What are your hopes for the new game?
Oh,
Do you have anything that we haven't covered here from all the stuff that we've cut out? That
I know you're gonna be disappointed in me, but I really like double region games, and if we went back to Kanto, that would be very interesting.
If they could, I would be fine with that if they can make it work. If they can make it work, there is no problem there. As long as it works, that's all I care about, is that it works and it feels good to go through it.
Because your biggest problem is pacing.
Yeah, as long as that pacing is solid, and it doesn't wear you out going back there, I'm fine. I'd be fine with going back to another region, especially if it helps alleviate not needing to do a remake. Like if you go back to Johto and you don't have to do another Johto Kanto remake, I'd be perfectly fine with having that happen. As for myself, honestly, I think I might have had some things that I wanted to see before. Like I wanted to see Ghost Steel, more Ghost. I wanted to see Pokemon designs that I thought of and move designs that I thought of. But everything that I've seen so far is so weird and so interesting that I can't really actually say something that I actually want to see in this game. Honestly, all I hope and wish to see is literally what this game is now.
Yes.
I want to see just how far and extent and all these changes have gone and will change the Pokemon experience when I come into it. And that's really just going to make me excited for next week.
I just hope it's not another Diamond and Pearl.
Yeah.
I really hope it's just not just Diamond and Pearl.
Yeah.
At least Platinum kind of cleaned up, but
yeah.
I hope it's not another Diamond and Pearl.
I don't think it will be, and honestly, I'm glad for that. And
I'm just saying, like, story-wise, like, if it's, like, everything's great now, but, like, if it's just, like, straight up, like, you're just focusing on just one aspect of the plot, and then it all blows up in your face at the very end, it's just kind of like, really?
Indeed.
Like,
But yeah,
it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a great game.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be great.
And I'm
gonna
a lot
love
of people
it.
Together.
And honestly,
that's important.
Like I said, I think our excitement was understated by the rest of the discussion. But I think this ending point here is really gonna put down what we really feel. We love it. We love Pokemon. We know you're probably gonna love this. It's gonna be interesting to see it go down, and I can't wait for more.
I'm hyped.
Thank you for going and tuning into the Creepo Depot. There will be another podcast coming out soon. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.